We are looking at the passage from Matthew's Gospel, which describes the birth of Jesus, or the announcement of the birth of Jesus. We focused on this passage last year at this time. It's entirely appropriate to do so, but it leaves me with a bit of a dilemma. Do I just whip out what I said last year and do it again? That feels like cheating, and there's a lot more to be said. Entire books have been written on the subject of the virgin birth. I'm sure you know some people are skeptical. Thomas Jefferson said, "The day will come when the mystical generation of Jesus by the Supreme Being as his Father in the womb of a virgin will be classed with the fable of the generation of Minerva in the brain of Jupiter." Jefferson, like most of the founding fathers, was a deist who had no use whatsoever for the miraculous. But even devout Christians can question, why is the virgin birth mentioned only here and in Luke's Gospel? Jesus himself never refers to it. Paul, writing about 20 or 30 years after Jesus and 30 years before Matthew and Luke, says nothing about it. In fact, in Romans 1, Paul says that it's the resurrection that proves that Jesus is the Son of God. Critics of Christianity can point to the supernatural elements attributed to the births of various famous people in antiquity. Mithra, for example, was supposedly born from a virgin on December 25th, and shepherds attended his birth. We can even consider the Greek philosopher Plato, who lived around 350 BC. His nephew and several other writers living just in the generation after Plato record a story that the god Apollo warned Plato's father not to have relations with his wife, and thus Plato was born of a virgin. Early Christians were aware of such stories. Justin Martyr, about 150 AD, says that Satan caused these stories to arise because he knew in advance how Jesus would be born, and he hoped to discredit the biblical account by making it look like it was just one more retelling of an old story. Anglican priest and theologian Leslie Weatherhead once said that Christians should be willing to regard some doctrines with what he called faithful uncertainty. We just don't know. That is not to say that God cannot do miracles. Unlike Jefferson and the deist, I believe God can do miracles from a virgin birth to a resurrection. I wish we understood them better, but then they wouldn't be miracles, would they? Let's read this passage now about the miraculous birth of Jesus as it appears in Matthew's Gospel. This is how the birth of Jesus, the Messiah, came about. His mother Mary was pledged to be married to Joseph, but before they came together, she was found to be pregnant through the Holy Spirit. Because Joseph, her husband, was faithful to the law and yet did not want to expose her to public disgrace, he had in mind to divorce her quietly. But after he had considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins." All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet, "The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel," which means God with us. When Joseph woke up, he did what the angel of the Lord had commanded him, and took Mary home as his wife. But he did not consummate their marriage until she gave birth to a son, and she gave him the name Jesus. This is the word of the Lord.